And we welcome you to our presentation of Shamrock Sports as Wake Forest comes in for football and volleyball. Elise Dohoney and myself, happy senior week to you.
Happy senior week. The class of 2024 will be taking over this week at the game and here on Shamrock.
It'll be a fun show, a fun weekend for us all. It was a strange week for Notre Dame athletics, especially Cell Pavilion for the women's basketball team. And that's where we start today as we go to the tape. Northwestern coming into town on Wednesday. And it was an interesting game. Some non-conference action, ACC, Big Ten. Notre Dame gets off to a little bit of a struggle of a start, down 8 before a timeout. But then who else do you go to? The freshman, Hannah Hidalgo on the wing for 3. She drains it, gets the Irish on the board there. She's celebrating. Next try. And she starts 2 from deep. She had quite the games, having quite the start to the season there. Notre Dame playing well on the defensive side of the ball too. Grabs the steal here, but the focus is not on the steal. The focus is on this great pass from Anna DeWolf behind the back. Hannah Hidalgo lays it in like who else. Let's take another look at this. One of the most impressive plays in all of basketball so far this year. Behind the back, to the left hand, spin move. She lays it in. Those two are going to be fun to watch for sure. Sonia Citron, end of the first quarter, buzzer beater. That's her role. She's going to be getting a lot of threes if she's on the court this year. We're going to have to watch out, though. Hannah Hidalgo's role, on the other hand, is grabbing those steals. Lays it in slowly on the left hand for 2. She's playing well so far this year. It'll be interesting to see how she develops. Another buzzer beater, perhaps, for Citron. Pulls in at the L, gets it at the half. Notre Dame's already up big, 55-26. We continue the action here. And a very interesting play. Sonia Citron is bumped kind of in the knee, leg area. She's down behind the baseline, unfortunately, where she remains after Northwestern drains the 3. She's clearly injured. And the good news here, and the only good news, is that she's able to be helped off on the court, put pressure on both legs. She did not return in her current status. Questionable. The Irish continue to play. They play for her in the fourth quarter. Check out this pass from Westbeld here, down into the paint. And Anna DeWolf lays it in. A great play there. Irish score big in this one. They end with 110. You pass it off to the key. Sarah Cernugal in and out for the 3. The former walk-on, our favorite player here at NDTV, a fellow senior. Irish take this one 110-52. And how about this game for Hidalgo? Just 3 crazy games in a row, 31, 26, 21. She's 6th in the NCAA in points per game and shooting 53.7% from 3. For all the latest and how the Irish go from here, let's send it over to Elise and the guys on the panel.
Thank you, Jake. I'm here, Elise Dohoney, with JJ Post and Andrew McGuinness, my fellow class of 2024 seniors. And Jake just touched on this, but women's basketball, Citron's down, lower body injury. We don't know when she's going to be back. What's the plan here? Where do we move from here? JJ?
Well, Hannah Hidalgo is obviously the easy answer. Jake just said she's 6th in the NCAA in points per game. She very clearly has shown in South Carolina that, against South Carolina, that she can, if need be, basically take control of the offense herself. But that's not the smart answer. Neil Ivey was asked about this immediately after the injury and said, we need to score by committee. We need everyone to step up. This is not a one-woman team. This has never been a one-woman team. We want everyone on the roster contributing. That means top to bottom. That means Nat Marshall, who Andrew will touch on a little bit, KK Bransford, Maddie Westbeld, all players that, have not been #1 options in the last 2 years. But we're going to need to step up a little more, find a little more. And none of them need to be 20-point-per-game scorers. They don't need to take over these games themselves. But they do need to do a little bit more every game to try to chip in and make up that, 15 points that Citron's probably going to be missing per game. And if you can do that on a per-game basis from everyone on the roster, you get a couple more points, a couple more rebounds, a couple, more inches of defensive effort in every possession. That's how you replace Citron until she gets back. And hopefully for the Irish, it'll be not too long of a time.
Yeah, a full team sport for sure. Andrew, your thoughts?
Yeah, as JJ said, it's not going to be just one player stepping up for Sonia Citron's absence. And Notre Dame's probably not going to be able to fully replicate the offensive loss from Citron, so they're going to have to make that up in other areas like defense, like forcing steals, which we saw a lot in the highlights from the Northwestern game, but also their rebounding as well. And Nat Marshall is the tallest member of this Notre Dame women's basketball team at 6'5". Notre Dame is missing, or was about Lauren Ebo, who was a key presence for Notre Dame inside last year. So there's going to be a need for someone to step up on the glass. Marshall's rebounds per game already almost doubled so far this year than where they were last year. She needs to keep that trend moving in the right direction and contribute in the other areas as well. And also, of course, chip in some scoring and supplement Notre Dame's depth and help them survive without Citron.
For sure. Definitely a curveball thrown in early in the season, but still a lot to look forward to for women's basketball as they head down to Washington, D.C. Freshman Shamrock correspondents Alice O'Brien and Ben Rohr have more on everything we can expect. Guys?
Hey Shamrock Sports, I'm Alice O'Brien here for another women's basketball game preview. This time, I'm joined by Mr. Ben Rohr.
That's right. Today we are here to talk about the second annual Shamrock Classic held in our nation's capital. The City Shamrock Classic will once again be held in Washington, D.C., and this year it will feature the 16th-ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame taking on the unranked Fighting Illini of Illinois. The game will be played Saturday, November 18th at 1 p.m. Along with City, the game is also arranged in conjunction with Notre Dame Global Partnerships, NBC Sports, and Notre Dame Athletics.
The Shamrock Classic serves as a nationally presented basketball game that works to celebrate, elevate, and support women. Prior to Saturday's game, a women's leadership luncheon will be offered to both participating teams, giving them an opportunity to hear from some of the most powerful women in business and sports today. Both Illinois and Notre Dame will be helping to make a positive impact on local D.C. youth as well by supporting a community service initiative presented by Gatorade.
As for the game itself, it will be played in Entertainment and Sports Arena, home to the WNBA's Washington Mystics. Just following the 50th anniversary of Title IX, Washington, D.C. plays a significant role as the host city of the event. D.C. was, in fact, the place Congress enacted the federal civil rights law that has encouraged an exciting rise of women participating in organized sports. Both Notre Dame head coach Nayla Ivey and Illinois head coach Shauna Green have expressed their anticipation for the event and its ability to showcase and support women's basketball.
Starting their season in Paris and now hosting a second annual Shamrock Classic in the nation's capital, it's clear that Notre Dame women's basketball is certainly receiving widespread recognition, opportunities, and support. The Irish defeated the California Golden Bears in last year's Shamrock Classic 90-79, and they look to extend their record to 2-0 on the series on Saturday.
Last home football game on Saturday, women's basketball game on Saturday. Should be an electric day to be an Irish fan.
You can catch women's basketball at 1 p.m. on NBC and then Notre Dame football immediately following at 3:30.
Shamrock Sports, this has been Alice O'Brien and Ben Rohr.
Here's to the class of 2024. Now we'll send it back to the desk. Go Irish as always.
Thanks, guys. We move now on to news around Notre Dame athletics. This past week, in a surprising move, Notre Dame fans learned that next week's game at Stanford will be televised on the Pac-12 network. This move angered fans as the Pac-12 network is not included in many cable packages. However, the channel is included on Fubo, which offers a 1-week free trial. Last week, after two great games against South Carolina and NJIT, Hannah Hidalgo was named ACC Rookie of the Week. In the Irish's win against NJIT, Hidalgo became the first Division I player since 2021 to have 12 steals in a single game. And finally, this weekend's game versus Wake Forest marks the 500th game at Notre Dame Stadium. The house that Rockne built has been through one expansion and reimagining, but the original layout of the stadium remains an integral part of the stadium since it opened in 1930. That's all for us.
And thank you, Elise. We now welcome our good friend Ryan Peters, managing editor of The Observer today. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Jake.
Thank you. Well, happy senior week to you. And as we look forward to this Wake Forest game, it's an interesting game because Irish obviously want to win. They want to go to the best bowl game possible. But at the same time, it's very much a ceremonial game. Sam Hartman's last game at Notre Dame Stadium playing his former team, and also a developmental game. Irish trying to get Angeli some snaps. You know, Ryan, at the quarterback position, how do you think this should play out for Marcus Freeman? Should he be given a lot of time to Freeman? Should he be given a lot of time to Hartman? Should Hartman be sitting on the bench? How do you think this should play out?
I think this should play out like a normal game. You know, you look at Pitt. Hartman played, 3 quarters? We've already done enough damage to Sam Hartman, and granted, he has stunk lately. I'm not going to say that. But when you look at his Notre Dame career so far, it's hard to wonder if we've actually damaged his NFL draft stock. Now, it wasn't great to begin with. That's why he's a 6th-year senior. But I think not starting him would just be hanging him out to dry even further. Angeli obviously should get stabs, maybe even Minchie. Hopefully it's a blowout. If we're a competent team, it will be a blowout. If it's not, then there are much bigger issues. But when you look at it, we've already hung Sam Hartman out to dry. Our offense is getting compared to Iowa, and the comparison is apt. And I think just benching him, I don't think it would accomplish, or benching him, starting Angeli instead for developmental purposes, whatever you want to call it. I don't think you're going to learn anything from Steve Angeli in, the first 2 quarters of Wake Forest that you haven't already learned in 2 years of practice, or you won't learn in off-season training camp next year. So I think you just treat it as a normal game and start Sam Hartman and then put in Angeli in the backups as soon as possible.
One argument some people are saying is that Notre Dame really doesn't owe anything to Sam Hartman. They gave him an education. They set him up with $1 million of NIL deal. You seem to disagree, trying to reboost his draft stock a little bit. How does that work out in your mind?
So I don't think Notre Dame owes anything to Sam Hartman, but I think for the future of recruiting, developing the quarterback room, bringing in transfers, which I think we will move beyond the quarterback transfers at some point. Obviously, there's talk of bringing one in next year. But once the COVID year's whole phenomenon is over, which it almost is, there's just not going to be, Sam Hartman's looking for a 5th or 6th year of college football. But I think if you continue, I don't know how a high-profile college quarterback to watch what just happened with Sam Hartman this year would want to come to Notre Dame. I mean, obviously there's the prestige, but in terms of like boosting your NFL draft stock, I genuinely have no clue why you would want to come here, at least as this offense is currently constructed. And so I think just in terms of building the quarterback room for the future, I think benching him would do more harm than good, and saying, oh, why would I want to go there if I'm, the ACC career or all-time leader in passing touchdowns? I'm just going to go. I'm going to look horrible against Clemson. Our offense can be completely inept. We're not going to run the ball when it's the only thing going for us in some games. Sam Hartman has stunk lately, but there's much bigger issues, and I think benching him would make it seem as if we're entirely blaming this on him when there's a lot more blame to go around.
Well, let's hope Riley Leonard and Michael Pratt don't hear that if that's the case next year. But Ryan Peters, as always, much appreciated your time. Enjoy senior day. And now we send it to Tyler Reedy for the latest on Notre Dame athletics news.
Tyler Reedy here with your Notre Dame soccer update as postseason play intensifies this weekend. The men's team, the 2nd overall seed in the country, will host Kentucky at 5 p.m. on Sunday in the round of 32. And yet the women's team will be in action even sooner, kicking off its round of 32 match against Memphis in Fayetteville, Arkansas at 4 p.m. Friday. Last weekend, the Irish women playing as a number 3 seed downed in-state Valparaiso 2-0 at Alumni Stadium in the first round. Valpo entered the tournament on a hot streak, having won the Missouri Valley Tournament, and with standout keeper Nikki Coryell on her game early, the score sheet remained empty at halftime. However, the Irish, on their way to a 33-shot performance, broke through in the 49th minute, with senior midfielder Ellie Ospek depositing her 5th goal of the season. And one playing of Crazy Frog, and 34 minutes later, freshman forward Charlie Codd got some help from a deflection and the woodwork to double Notre Dame's lead. So now the Irish hope to accomplish what they couldn't 2 seasons ago, get out of Fayetteville and onto the Elite Eight for the 2nd straight year. In all likelihood, the Irish would need a Sunday upset of 2nd-seeded Arkansas to get there, something they couldn't find in their final match of 2021, a 3-2 loss to the Razorbacks in the round of 16. Meanwhile, ACC Coach of the Year Chad Riley and the Notre Dame men's team now know their first opponent of the NCAA tournament. It's the Kentucky Wildcats of the high-powered Sun Belt Conference. Thursday night saw Big Blue go into Cincinnati and eliminate Xavier with a 2-0 win, as Ban Damji produced both Wildcat goals, doubling his scoring output for the season, and Casper Moles handled the rest in goal for his 7th clean sheet of the year. Notre Dame, on the contrary, has managed 2 weeks of downtime after an early exit to Louisville in the ACC quarterfinals. And whether rested or rusty, the Irish cannot overlook the capabilities of this Kentucky team, which defeated top 5 seeds Marshall and West Virginia during a 7-game unbeaten streak to end the regular season. Taming the Wildcats begins with newly minted ACC Goalkeeper of the Year Brian Dowd, who headlines a deep group of holdovers from Notre Dame's run to the College Cup in 2021. Dowd enters the big dance with an .812 save percentage and 8 clean sheets so far this year. And in front of him, the Irish seek extended production from junior forwards Matthew Rue and Eno Ento, who each scored 10 goals in the regular season and garnered all ACC selections to the first and second team, respectively. The road to Louisville and the College Cup runs through South Bend, with Notre Dame in position to host through the Elite Eight. And speaking of Elite, let's go back to our seniors in the studio. For Shamrock Sports, I'm Tyler Reedy.
After almost a year-long sabbatical, courtroom is back in session. Hi, everybody. I'm Honorable Jacob Irons. Yes, I did not die. I am back. The robe and all still fits. And on this Senior Week episode, it was only fitting to bring back one of the most talked about segments on NDTV. It's College Football Courtroom. I got new digs. Look at this, new shoes, a new courtroom. It's pretty awesome. But let's get going. We have a great podium. We have Andrew McGuinness and JJ Post, the Honorable. We'll start with Mr. Post. And let's start with maybe the biggest question. Riley Leonard, could he come to Notre Dame? Mr. Post, I'll start with your argument. If you could please come to the podium. Oh, geez.
Your Honor, Riley Leonard might be the biggest question, but he's not the answer.
He is not.
I'm going to say no. We should not bring in Riley Leonard as a transfer quarterback because we should bring in someone even better. Oh. I have no idea if the transfer portal market will be as prolific as it was last spring when we were able to land Sam Hartman. If it is, though, Notre Dame should go after the best of the best. I'm talking Michael Pratt from Tulane. No one knows if he's going to enter the draft or not. Likely he will enter the draft. But should he want an additional year, maybe a year to play at the highest level like Hartman did, I think he's a target Notre Dame should go after. I know there's a legitimate reason for why Notre Dame should not do what they did with Hartman. You know, you could say last year Notre Dame went and got the best of the best. It didn't work out. And now they're in the same spot as before. So you shouldn't go that same route? No. If you don't at first succeed, try again. This is a roster that can reasonably compete for a 12-team playoff if they have the right quarterback. Now I'm all for giving Steve Angeli and Kenny Minchie the chance to show they can win that job in camp. But until then, you should take the most proven option. And if Angeli can beat him out, great. Go with Angeli. But until then, you want the most proven option to lead the team forward.
Mr. McGuinness, I'll hear your side.
Thank you very much, Judge Irons. We'll take a
honorable Irons.
Honorable.
Points.
Irons.
Whoa. Honorable. All right, keep going.
Points for being a snitch.
Whoa. Order in this court. Order. I need order in this courtroom.
The lawyer does.
All right, let's go. Keep it going.
To take a different angle from what Mr. Post said, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Notre Dame needs to find a long-term answer at quarterback. It's not sustainable, I'm sure you agree, to go into the portal every single year and try to find a new signal caller. I personally don't think that Notre Dame is going to have the pieces around the quarterback position, regardless really of who's playing next year, to really be a serious national championship contender. So given that, and given what we've seen from Angeli in some spurts so far this year, given all the hype surrounding CJ Carr, I think we owe it to those guys and to the future of Notre Dame football to see what the Irish have in store. You know, practice reps are great, and all of that stuff is very important in training camp and whatnot, but at the end of the day, there's no way to find out what a quarterback is made of than other than seeing them play in real game action. And so I think that's what Notre Dame needs to find out about its future. Is it CJ Carr? Is it Steve Angeli? Notre Dame needs an answer one way or the other. It can't afford to just punt another season, and that's what ultimately bringing a transfer would be. Maybe they'd be better in the short term, but you'd just be kicking the can down the road.
You say punt on a season, but you're asking to bring in an unproven option. Is that not effectively certainly more than bringing in a proven quarterback, punting on the season?
By punting on the season, I meant punting on the development of the quarterback position.
Okay.
That was poorly worded. I will admit that.
You can take your seat, Counselor.
Thank you, Honorable.
Perfect, no problem. I'm all for the transfer portal. I think there's no guy coming out of high school. Mr. Post, you win case one. However, let's keep moving. Marcus Burton. Is he Blake Wesley? I don't know. Could he be one and done? I don't know. Mr. Post, we'll start with you again. One and done, Marcus Burton?
No.
Okay.
No, Marcus Burton, I think, is going to be a very good player at Notre Dame for a very long time, but he is also a 5'11" guard that just went 4 for 20 against the best team he's played all year. He has development to do, and he is currently being the point guard that is getting 35 minutes per game for the team he grew up wanting to play for, the team that was his only super major high Power 5 offer. I don't think he's leaving. I don't think he wants to leave. I think even if he gets a transfer portal offer like J.J. Starling did last year, he might find a better opportunity. This Notre Dame team isn't going to be especially good. He could probably find a better team next year, but I think this is the team he wants to play for. I think this is the team he will play for, and I don't think the NBA, I don't know what would happen for him to go to the NBA draft, but I think it would have to be in the tune of record-setting in multiple stat categories.
Yeah. Counselor, come on.
Thank you, Mr. Honorable Judge Irons.
It's just honorable. We don't need the Mr. in front of it.
Misfiring on all interests.
Yeah, all right, here we go, McGuinness. Let's try and get going.
Misfire on this take, I don't think, certainly. Marcus Burton, like JJ said, a tremendous player, outstanding, wonderful. Insert positive adjective here. Is he an NBA talent right now? No. He's just simply not, for all the reasons JJ stated. you could have put First Take, and even they wouldn't. You could have put First Take up here. Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith, even they wouldn't disagree on this one. If anything, I think that he might be more likely to transfer, given some of the reasons that JJ stated. Obviously, this is his childhood team, which is special, but special is also winning. And Notre Dame is not going to win a lot this year, folks. I don't know if you saw that Auburn game last night, but
Not good, counselor.
That's a sign of things to come in an ACC that, well, maybe not quite as good as it was 5-6 years ago, is still a Power 5 conference. It's going to be ugly for Notre Dame this season. So Marcus Burton, maybe he decides he doesn't want to be a part of that. Maybe he wants some more victories and success as a team in his college career, but he's not NBA ready.
Got it. Would have liked to have settled this out of court. We didn't need to do this in there if we were going to come to a conclusion. Why do we need to waste? I was on a year-long sabbatical. I had to come back for one course. All right. Okay, order. All right, let's go to the next one. Biggest loss on this senior day for Notre Dame. Who will it be? Mr. Post, since we're starting with it, we'll do you again, apparently. Sorry, McGuinness.
You're the judge. You can make the decision.
I was going to say this.
Dude, I was on the beach sipping Mai Tais before this.
I yield my time.
Oh, my gosh. All right, get going.
Thank you, Honorable.
Yeah.
Mr. Post.
Respectful courtroom.
Yes, thank you. Notre Dame's biggest loss isn't one player this year. It's one position group. Notre Dame snap counts throughout the year, and they've been divided a lot of positions between some younger and older players. And then you get to linebacker. It's basically Jack Kaiser, J.D. Bertrand, and Maris Leofau. Those guys have been on the field nonstop, especially Bertrand and Leofau. Kaiser's role has been a bit more up and down, but even he's been a big factor for his Notre Dame team on special teams as well as the linebacker position. All three of those guys have been really good this season. Notre Dame's defense, as we all know by now, is not the problem with this team. It's the offense. But next year, is Drake Bowen going to be ready to step in and take a big role, starting potentially every single game, where some of the younger young guys like Nolan Ziegler may be going to step in as well too? Will Notre Dame be able to find players in the transfer portal or in the recruiting class to fill those voids? Those are the big questions that the Irish are going to have to answer. Marcus Freeman, a defensive-minded head coach, I think he'll find those answers, but it's still going to be a bit of a step back when you're losing three talented and experienced players like them.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Honorable.
Mr. Post.
Finally did it right.
You did. Let's go.
Andrew makes a good point. The linebacker room, I don't think for a while now has gotten the due it deserves for what it's given Notre Dame and the benefit it's had for this Notre Dame defense. Leofau, Bertrand, Kaiser, these guys are not just great players, they are smart players, and with Al Golden running a complex NFL-style scheme, they make this defense tick. That being said, like you said, could Drake Bowen step up? Could Nolan Ziegler step up? Could Jalen Sneed step up? We know a whole lot more about the depth chart behind them than we do about the depth chart behind Howard Cross. Howard Cross, you talk about leading snaps. Howard Cross has led the defensive line in snaps every single game we've played this year. There were games against Duke, for example, which we're seeing highlights of up here, where he didn't even leave the field, it felt like. And it felt like when Notre Dame needed him to make a play, you don't usually look to your nose tackle as a playmaker, but Howard Cross has been that playmaker in big moments for this Irish team. Behind him on the interior defensive line, we don't really know what Notre Dame's plan B would be, and who knows if he's going to leave, if he's going to come back. I do believe he has an additional year of eligibility should he wish to pursue that. But if he leaves, Notre Dame does not have much in the way of tangible, proven options at that interior defensive position. Whereas linebacker, it's young guys, but at least you know who the depth chart behind the linebacker room is. As for the interior defensive line, as for the nose tackle position, who knows?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a very great point. However, I think the linebacker
Good morning,
room
everyone, and
gets
welcome
the win.
to ND
You guys go
Sunrise.
1-1 each
Review
with the
of the
settlement in there as
Keenan
well.
review.
I think it's
That's right. We've got a big game in Sin City.
Nope. I got time here, people. I got time. I got to go somewhere else. I got to get back on.
Somewhere else is volleyball with me.
Yeah, somewhere else is volleyball. But we'll take a quick break. We'll send it over to Keenan Bagenstow, who breaks down Irish's big weekend last weekend and a huge Big Ten setting weekend coming up against the Golden Gophers.
Last weekend, Jeff Jackson and Notre Dame hockey welcomed number 19 Ohio State into Compton Family Ice Arena to avenge the football team. On Friday night, night one, the Irish rode a 3-goal second period to claim a 4-1 statement victory. The first period saw the teams feeling each other out with only 21 combined shots and few high-danger chances. Then, Tyler Carpenter was at the right place at the right time and fought off an OSU defender and rebounded the shot of Ryan Sedem into the net to give the Irish a 1-0 advantage 2.5 minutes into the second period. Ohio State also had 3 penalties in the second period, including a 10-minute misconduct for abusive officials committed by their number 1 center, Stephen Halliday. On the first power play, Sedem gave Justin Janicki the feed, and Janicki sniped it home to give the Irish a 2-0 advantage about halfway through the second period. Then, in the last 5 minutes of the period, on a 5-on-3 man advantage, Danny Nelson took a one-timer from Drew Bavaro but missed, but Captain Landon Slaggers was right there to pick up the rebound and drove it home to give the Irish a stranglehold 3-0 lead. Then, midway through the third period, Hunter Strand stole the puck from behind the net, passed it to Brandon Ali, who delivered the one-time feed to Grant Silanoff. Great tic-tac-toe motion. Then Ohio State somehow managed to beat Bishop with about 5 minutes left in the game, as number 10 Weiss redirected a laser for number 6 Klee off of a tic-tac-toe effort, but it was too little too late, and Notre Dame held on to win 4-1 for the first night. In night 2, Saturday night hockey, baby, the Irish continued this momentum, and they won 3-0, completing the sweep of their Big Ten foe, something we did not see a lot of last year. The first period was a lot like the one of night 1, with the teams mainly feeling each other out. However, yet another set of OSU penalties gave the Irish the opportunity to generate offensive cohesiveness and momentum. However, the Irish could not cash anything in until 2 seconds left in the period. Cole Knubel found Patrick Monahan out wide and delivered a one-time feed, which Patrick initially missed. He, however, then drilled the rebound in for his first goal as a Fighting Irish, a common theme with Irish goals in this series. In the second period, despite OSU outshooting ND 13-10, Monahan delivered a backhand from Gretzky's office at an impossible angle to go up 2-0. In the third period, Bishop and the Irish focused on stopping Ohio State's desperate offensive assaults and preserved the lead. OSU pulled their goalie with 3 minutes left in the game. Cole Knubel drilled the puck into the empty net to get his first collegiate goal. Overall, an absolutely dominant weekend for the Irish in South Bend against those Buckeyes, as Ryan Bishop had a 0.984 save percentage. It did not let anything go into the net. Notre Dame was also able to capitalize off of Ohio State's undisciplined nature. Notre Dame also coupled finesse and grit as they utilized one-timers and capitalizing off rebounds to pull ahead of the Buckeyes. This weekend resulted in Notre Dame entering the rankings as number 17. Next up, the number 17 Irish travel to number 6 Minnesota to face off with a tough team in the Golden Gophers in the state of hockey. Minnesota has had a surprising 5-3-2 record this year. They were swept by number 1 Wisconsin and went 1-1 against number 2 North Dakota. They went 1-0-1 against number 12 Michigan, and then they surprisingly went 1-0-1 against unranked Minnesota Duluth. Minnesota is a fringe top 10 team, but unlike prior years, they cannot compete with the very best teams in the nation and are not national championship/Frozen Four contenders. However, a win or sweep against Minnesota would still be extremely significant for Notre Dame and their NCAA tournament hopes.
Thank you so much, Kian. We're now going to turn to Notre Dame men's basketball. I'm Elise Dohoney here with our analyst, JJ Post. And JJ, let's talk about that offense first. What are we seeing on the offense for men's basketball?
Yeah, I mean, we're not seeing a lot of consistency is what we're seeing. You know, there's ups and downs, and that's to be expected. This is a young team that is still growing with every game. They're not going to be a finished product. They're not going to be a team that is at the destination right now. They're going to want to get better every game. And with that has come some growing pains. We're seeing a team that I think maybe is still the less sum of their parts. You know, it's a team that was built with the intention of the players getting better. The Shrewsbury went in the portal and said, we want to get young in the portal. We're not trying to bring in older, experienced players. We want to get young options. And we see here, you know, right now this offense, it's just a bit stagnant. There's not a ton of motion going on. They kind of get cornered into shot selection that isn't always really that good. And they went 2 from 26 from 3 last night against Auburn, and that wasn't an accident. You know, obviously some of that's just, you know, having off shooting, and that's not what you want to have. But some of that is just shot selection. Getting into good positions on the court to shoot the ball. And when you get cornered into shots like that, when the shot clock is ticking down, that's the shots you take, and those are the shots you miss more often than not, especially when you can't fall back on just having a raw talent. You know, if you're Duke, you can take shots like that, and you can just assume, hey, we got some of the best players in the country. Yeah. Those will go in. Notre Dame's not in that spot as a program right now. So it's a little bit of scheming, a little bit of growing. I don't think there's anything Notre Dame can really do from a coaching standpoint, you know, to make this offense substantially better. They just got to keep sure they keep growing, keep getting better every game.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely going to be some growing pains. But hey, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball as well for Notre Dame. What are we looking at there?
Yeah, similar things. I mean, Shrewsbury stressed all offseason, like, hey, the one thing I tell you about this defense, we're going to give effort, we're going to be trying, we're going to be working. And that is, I'd say, to a T, honest. You know, this is a defense that doesn't lack for effort. You know, they run hard, they fight hard, but you see here, they also have moments where they just kind of lapse off. It's a young team. You see, you can't let a player just get inside you on that inbound that close to the basket. You know, they scrap forward underneath the basket, which is what Shrewsbury's talking about. You know, they'll contest those shots, but ultimately you give Auburn, team like Auburn, a look like that, they're going to score it. But also you have nice moments where you see here, they're helping out. You see we pause the frame here. That's Tay Davis, I believe. That's rotating over. You know, make sure that they get 2 men on the ball and make sure an easy shot can't go up. Eventually force them into a bad outlet pass you're going to see here and a turnover. So again, this is not a finished product on defense. It's a defense that is getting better, but the bones are there. The effort is there. It's just a matter of, you know, maybe growing out of some of those rookie mistakes.
Definitely a great place to start, definitely room to improve as well. But we're going to take a quick break here for our senior show on Shamrock Sports, and we'll be right back after this. Hi Irish, my name is Elise Dohoney and I'm NDTV Director of Operations. If you'd like to support NDTV, make sure to click on the link on the screen or in our description. It's an Amazon link, will take you straight to the site, and any purchase you make through that link, we receive a small portion of the revenue. This is a great way to support NDTV and get all those things you need for the perfect Notre Dame tailgate. I'm talking, you know, mugs and flags and hats and all the merch that you need. So make sure to click on that link and support NDTV. We're here for all of you. Welcome back to the program, guys. We're about to combine one of our favorite new segments with one of my favorite segments. We're doing something today called Sham Bookie Trivia. So these guys you see in their hands, they have an over sign and an under sign.
So floppy.
They'll find them someplace in there, but I'm going to ask some questions kind of related to betting in a loose sense, related to Notre Dame and Senior Day. We have our scorekeeper Keen here on the side. He's going to let us know who's winning and who's going to take this one. It'll be a big one. Let's start with question 1 if we can pull it up. Notre Dame's playing in Senior Day this weekend. In the past 20 years, how many times has Notre Dame lost on Senior Day? Over or under 5.5? The guys got their signs. They're bringing it up. Oh, we got a difference here. JJ with the over.
Being optimistic.
Andrew with the under. The answer is under. 5 times. 5 times in 2016, 14, 09, 08, and 04. Interesting. Probably the worst team since this year, 2016. Hopefully that doesn't mean anything.
At least we're going to a bowl.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly.
we crossed that bridge a while ago.
Silver linings, folks.
Andrew, 1 point here. Let's move on. Question number 2.
I had all of the first trivia.
There we go. In 2020, Ian Book made history on Senior Day. He became the winningest quarterback in program history. How many wins did he obtain as a starter at Notre Dame? We're setting the line at 32.5.
It's either like 32 or 33.
All right, that's what McGuinness says. JJ?
Fine, I'll go over 2.
They're both going over. Interesting take. Actually, answer is under. I thought you guys would know this.
If it's exactly 32.
Exactly 30.
Yeah, because I knew it was 33 or 32.
No, it's 30.
Oh, I thought it was 32 or 33.
Never mind.
Score stays.
I never watched Ian Book play
1-0, Mr. Kean.
You better be careful how you called those cards out, just saying.
Hey, we don't endorse cheating here.
I wasn't cheating, I was just looking to the right.
Okay, we keep going,
All right, Michigan.
Question number 3, we still have a game. Question number 3 here. Saturday's matchup marks ND 500, not the Indy 500, but ND 500, the 500th game at Notre Dame Stadium. And including this year, how many Senior Days have been played during that
Does it have to be like designated a Senior Day, or are we just talking about like seasons?
Just talking about how many times seniors would play their last game at Notre Dame Stadium. We're talking.
I'm bad at math, and this is a math question.
Because the 125th season was 2012.
We're talking about an over and an under. The answer here is under.
Wait, how? What? How?
Even though they're in that season, they have not played all those seasons at Notre Dame Stadium. 94 years at Notre Dame Stadium.
I knew there was a trick there.
We got a tie game, Kian, 1-1. All right, we're heading into our 4th and last question. Very interesting question.
Are we going to tie again?
You sure, we can tie. Why not?
But no, I hate
the same answer intentionally.
We'll just tie everything today. Let's go to last question here. Question number 4. Our good friend JJ is a frequent analyst on Shamrock Sports. How has JJ fared on Sham Bookie this year? Over or under 50%? Well, we got some consensus on this. It looks like we will tie. Yeah, under at 50%. He's actually at 20% this year. So if you want betting advice, probably not the guy to go to.
A great person to go to, just do the opposite.
Well, I got my
Russian ping pong, that's on me. College football, no.
I got my favorite moment we got to bring back. A couple of weeks ago, I don't remember what show it was, but we got to bring it back. I think we got a photo someplace. JJ's biggest pick, Colorado at minus 23.5. I have a quote here. I'm taking Colorado minus 23.5, and I don't even think it's going to be close to that.
Well, he's right. It was not close to that.
They won the game, and it wasn't close to 23.5.
I guess so. You got the shades with you today. We're back with that. Hey, we just got a lot going on here.
Sponsor me, Dion.
I guess it works out. FanDuel, DraftKings, we're probably not your guys, so sorry. We'll take a quick break. We're coming right back with our favorite moments in Notre Dame history and our time here at the program. You're watching NDTV.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to ND Sunrise.
This is the
review of the Keenan Review.
That's right, we've got a big game in Sin City.
Plot twist, I am the Grim Reaper.
Overall, this year's event was a rousing success.
Would Notre Dame be the first one to accept ASL as a foreign language as a department?
Once again, I'm Elena Morgan from ND Sunrise, signing off.
Okay, here we are back in the studio. All the seniors of today's show, class of 2024, and we thought we'd do a cute segment here. We all are just going to talk about our favorite football memory from our 4 seasons here as Notre Dame students, starting back in 2020 where we had a very different type of football season. But I guess I'll hand it off to you first, Miller. It's your show. What is your favorite Notre Dame student football memory?
I'll press back. It's our show. It's been a pleasure to share this with everybody. But my favorite memory is a little bit of an interesting one. I'm the only person here. My favorite memory is not at Notre Dame Stadium. It was this amazing game I got a chance to go to. We're playing Duke. It's the 4th and 16 moment. You just say that down, everybody knows what's happening. Sam Hartman scrambles. I'm in the press box. Football Writers Association says no cheering. Well, there might have been some cheering. He makes that. Estimate goes on to run. One of the best times of my life. And then being able to see the Duke students pan out of the game, to go to the press conference there and see Sam Hartman answer some questions. It was an amazing experience. And one, for me, my favorite game that I've ever been to live in person.
Wow, yeah, no, I definitely remember you coming back from that game incredibly excited about that victory earlier this season.
It lasted 6 days.
My voice was a bit different.
I think I'm going to keep with the theme. My favorite game was also, I wasn't in Notre Dame Stadium. I was in Galway, Ireland, studying abroad my junior year. And it was the Clemson game, and I was in my tiny little apartment in the wee hours of the morning in Galway, Ireland, listening to the WVFI broadcast of the Clemson game, because I know all these guys who are on the broadcast, and that's the only way I could listen to the game. And when we finally won that game last year, I heard about the students storming the field, the way that they were describing it. I was just jumping around this tiny little apartment in Ireland when I was abroad. So you can still be a Notre Dame Irish fanatic in Europe, apparently. But McGuinness.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little off the book here. You know, you guys both picked some pretty big moments. I think everyone remembers. I'm going with a recent moment that was kind of just like a nice day. It's the Pitt game from a couple weeks ago. I know this may sound like a very strange choice.
Okay, wait, no.
So
what's the explanation?
Yeah, so this is actually the day before my birthday. I turned 22 the day afterwards. And it was just a really nice day. Got to watch the game with my friends. I'd gotten separated from a lot of them during the USC game, so I was a little bit bummed about that. But got to watch this game with all of them. It was just a really nice day to honestly just relax, coming off like the stress of like the first half of the semester, fall break, then leading into this, and just being able to just relax in the stands and enjoy a blowout. So many exciting moments. The pick 6 you see right there. It was just a very stress-free day, and I've been a Notre Dame football fan my whole life, so I am not used to those type of days on Saturdays in the fall. So it was just nice to have, especially with, like I said, my birthday coming up literally the next day. So yeah.
JJ, round it out for us.
Yeah, I'm going to turn back to kind of a generic moment, which is the USC game this year. It was really cool because it's the first game I got to watch my youngest sister, Ashley. She's 12 years old. She's awesome. Then you can see the same jersey that she's wearing is what I'm wearing in this, which is the first photo I have of Ashley. We may or may not have got her in the student section. I don't know if the statute of limitations on that not being allowed is still
expired. Right,
existing.
exactly.
But yeah, we had to remove her at halftime because touchdown push-ups with a child are not, it's frowned upon by Notre Dame security. But I've been sitting in the front row of Notre Dame games at Notre Dame Stadium for probably as long as I've been here, so 3 years now. And that game was just kind of cool because it was, one of those games where it felt like, for the first time we actually were worth watching something for being in the front row. Arriving 2 hours early was made valid twice against Clemson and then against USC. But yeah, just a really cool experience to have my younger sister, and hopefully one that draws her back here when it makes time for her to make her college decision.
And then she'll make you do push-ups.
Yeah.
That might be that might be a stretch.
Will she be carrying you this time?
Listen, I'm not going to predict the future here.
Oh, no, you'll be like 30. You're too old. Well, we are definitely upset that this is our last Shamrock where we're talking about football, but we're pumped for our senior game this weekend. We know there's tons of traditions that typically happen at the senior game that I think we've been revving up for since freshman year. So, for Elise Dohoney, I'm here with JJ Post, Andrew McGuinness, Jake Miller for the class of 2024, signing off. We had to do the marshmallows.
Let's go.